सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यात् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so we are in Chandogya Upanishad and we are in section 2. So now in section 2, how it starts is, it says, Sadeva Somya idam agra asit ekam eva advitiyam. So Udalaka Rishi was telling his son Shwetaketu, did you learn that by which the unheard becomes heard, the unthought of becomes thought of, the unknown becomes known? Did you learn that knowing which everything becomes known? And what he was alluding to was Sat or existence or Brahman. And so he gives his teaching now to his son Shwetaketu, and he says, Sat eva means existence alone. Idam agra asid. This idam, this world, agra, before creation, was existence alone. And how was that existence? Ekam eva advitiyam. One alone without a second. And when he says this, he negates all the possible differences that we can have. So there's no difference within the thing. It doesn't have parts. So there's no difference within the thing. There is no other, there's no similar species to existence. So there's no similar species to existence, like pot existence, bottle existence, table existence. There's no similar species to existence. And there's nothing other than existence, because other than existence would be non-existent, right? So in this way, this Sat or existence doesn't have any difference. It is one homogeneous thing. Ekam eva advitiya. But he says, tadha eka. Like some people say that asad eva idam agra asid. That this world came from non-existence. One alone without a second. So people say that from non-existence, the world came. So then, again, in the second mantra, the second section, the second mantra, he says, how is it possible? Kutastu khalu somya. How is it possible, O Shwetaketu, that katham asatas sajjayeta? How is it from non-existence, existence came? Really, Sat eva somya idam agra asit means from existence alone, this world came. So today we're going to see a little bit of the, what we call Vainashika school. I know some, you asked last week, who is the Purva Paksha, or who is the opponent here? Who is the one that believes that from non-existence, the world came? So this is called the Vainashika school, a school of Buddhism. So some people interpret the Vainashika school this way. Their thought process is this, okay? They say that it has to be from non-existence, the world came. Why? Because if you take a seed, the seed dies to become a sprout. So because the seed dies to become a sprout, the sprout actually came from non-existence. So the Advaitin says, that's not true. That's not true because the seed itself is present in the sprout. The seed continues through the sprout. And that's why a mango seed yields a mango sprout. An orange seed yields an orange sprout. So therefore, there is a continuation there. And by the way, we've never seen a sprout come of non-existence. So if you say this world comes out of non-existence, then why don't you produce a sprout out of non-existence, right? Why will the pot maker get a lump of clay to make a pot? Why don't he just make it from non-existence? And if you see that which pervades the pot, it is isness. The pot was there, it is there, and it will be there. Means the pot was there as clay, it is there now, and it will be there as earth later. So we see that in an object like a pot, isness is pervading. It's not that it's not, it's not, it's not. So he says here that this is existence. And I'm going to read a little bit of the, of the Bhashya, the commentary here, because it's very beautiful. He says, Sadbuddhi anuvrittehe sattva nivrittescheti tadvadinam sataha eva sad utpattihi sotsyati na tu asatvadinam drishtantaha asati asata sad utpattihe. So what he says is that existence is constantly pervading each and every object. Because clay becomes the pot, it becomes mud, that existence is constantly pervading it. It's always there. Something is always as it is. And we never have any example that from non-existence, existence came. And so the Vainashika says, okay, well, that's fine. He says, then how is it that you say, can you say from existence comes existence? Can you say from a pot comes a pot? And so the Advaitin says, no, it's not like that. The pot comes from clay. So that clay becomes a pot, becomes a pitcher, becomes a cup. It's not that the pot becomes a pot. It comes from clay. And it comes from an origin, right? When we look at pot, the pot is not in the pitcher is not in the pot, but they are all in clay. So there is one thing that they're all originating from. In the case of the pot and the pitcher and the cup, it's all originating from clay. In case of this whole world, it's all originating from existence. So then the Vainashika says, look, well, why not we say it's just a thought? Because they believe that there's no external world out there. So why not we say it's the thought of clay that creates the thought of pot? So why don't we say that? So the Advaitin says, even if you want to say it like that, the thought of clay caused the thought of pot, right? So even if you say they're just thoughts in your head, they can be thoughts in your head. But the thing is, the thought of clay caused the thought of pot. There's a cause and effect relationship. There is something there that caused the other thing. And so with this, the Vainashika, the opponent, is silenced because there's nothing else to prove. It is the fact that from existence alone, the world came. And even if we say non-existence, from non-existence it came, to say non-existence is a dichotomy. It's an oxymoron, right? To say non-existence was means we're saying non-existence is. So non-existence is existing. So therefore, he says, No, it cannot be. Existence alone is from where the world came from. Now, again, the opponent says, but why would you say existence alone was there before creation? Isn't existence there now? And the answer is obviously existence is there now. But what we're saying is before creation, existence was there without name and form, without nama rupa. And after creation, creation is the manifestation of names and forms. So after creation, existence is there with names and forms. That's why we say Sat alone was there before creation, because it was there without names and forms. Okay, fine. But now, again, the opponent comes. So this is, a beautiful bhasha, but commentary, but there's so many Purva Pakshas objections because they want to really, really make their point. He says, Nanu niravayavam sat nishkalam nishkriyam shantam niravadyam niranjanam divyo hyamurtaha purushaha sabahyabhyantaraha hyajaha ityadi shrutibhyaha niravayavasya satah katham vikarastha sthanam upapadyate. He said, look, now, if you look at the Upanishads, Upanishads are our main source of knowledge. First of all, if you look at our Upanishads, all of them will say that this world came from existence. There's always something there. They'll either say from Brahman it came, from Atman it came, from Sat it came. In all of our Upanishads, we have this. It'll never say from non-existence the world came. Now, if you take the nature of this existence, the opponent now is saying this Sat or existence in your Upanishads is Niravayavam. It's partless. It's Nishkalam. It doesn't, it's without parts. Niravayavam, without parts again. Nishkriyam, it doesn't do anything. Shantam, it is so peaceful. And Niravadyam, it's unblemished. Niranjanam, it's unpolluted. So when you take this Sat that's so pure, no parts, it doesn't do anything, it's unblemished, untouched, how do you expect the world to come out from that? If you say clay becomes pot, clay modifies to become pot, right? You take the lump of clay, you have to kind of roll it and form it, and you have to put it in the potter's wheel, and then it becomes a pot. You're telling me that this creation came out of Sat, but Sat it's changeless, it can't be modified. So how is this possible? So now here we bring in Maya. So what he says is, this creation is not really a modification, but this creation is an appearance. So it is like, in Vedanta, we have different examples to show different things, right? So the clay and the pot example is to show that the pot is really not different from clay. But then when we get asked this question, so is creation one thing becoming another? We say, no. Now you have to use this example of rope and snake. Does the rope become the snake? No. The rope appears as the snake. So in that rope, there is no snake there. There's no snake there. That snake is only me. It's only in my mind. I'm imagining there's a snake there. But the rope is just appearing as the snake. So therefore, this creation is called vivarta. It appears as that, something else. It is that one appearing as many. So now the question to us will come, but how is that? How is that possible? So here he says that, listen, it is possible because of Maya. And now we talked about Maya a little bit in Panchadashi chapter 2, but I'm going to again kind of remind us what Maya is so that we have a full picture, right? Because Brahman on its own cannot create. Brahman is like the rope. Please remember, the rope doesn't do anything. It is us who envision the snake appearing. So this Maya is avyakta namni. Okay, avyakta namni means this Maya is unmanifest. It's unmanifest. It's not something we can see with our eyes or think with our thoughts. It's unmanifest. Paramesha Shakti. And it is the Shakti of Brahman. It is the strength, the power of Brahman. When did it come? Anadi. This Maya is beginningless. So many people will say, when did Maya come? How did Maya come? Maya is beginningless. And it's pointless to inquire when Maya came. And the example given in our Shastra is that, let us say the house is burning. Now, will you ask, how did the fire come? Or will you just run out of the house? Right? So in the same way, in this samsara, instead of asking how all of this came, the effort should be, how do I go beyond this? So it is anadi, beginning. Avidya, it is of the nature of ignorance. So the power of Maya, what does Maya do exactly? It makes that one appear as many. It makes something appear as something else. So it makes that one Brahman appear as this entire world of names and forms. And though there are different names and forms, remember it's only one substance. Though there's only one clay, it's different pot, pitcher, cup, etc. So it makes the one appear as many. It makes something appear as something else. So it makes Brahman appear as this world. Not only that, it makes us forget that this world is actually Brahman in essence. That's the power of Maya. So it appears as many, and it makes us forget that the many is actually one. It makes that pure consciousness appear as this body, mind, intellect, ego, and it also makes us forget that in essence, this body, mind, intellect, ego is consciousness. That's the power of Maya, avidya. Then this Maya is of the nature of trigunatmika, sattva, rajas, tamas. So we see its expression as sattva guna, the guna of calmness, of peace. Rajoguna, the guna of activity and dynamism. And tamoguna, the guna or that nature of inertia. It appears as that. Para, and it's para means it's beyond the body, mind, and intellect. Karyanumeya. Karyanumeya means it is inferred from its effect. We know Maya is there because we see its effect. Just like when we see fire, we know that it has the power to burn. We're not seeing the power to burn. But when we see fire, we know it has the power to burn. When we see speech coming out, when we see someone talking, we can see someone talking, but we can't see the power of speech. But we know it's there. Because without that, someone wouldn't be able to talk. So it is inferred. And this Maya, Swadhyaya, it is known only by that one who has a clear intellect. And it is responsible, yaya jagat sarvam idam prasuyate. It is responsible for bringing this entire world into being. So this Maya is the reason or the cause for that world to come about. From Brahman, which is changeless. From Brahman, which is changeless, what happens? This whole world of change comes about. Two opposing things. From Brahman, which is consciousness, this whole world of inertness comes. They're objects that are inert. They are experienced objects like this computer, this book, this table. From Brahman, which is bliss, this whole world of sorrow comes about. We feel sorrow, we feel down when we are that supreme bliss. From Brahman, which is partless, all parts come, different parts. From Brahman, which is only one, non-dual, many things appear. So this power is called Maya. And this is not something that's not known to us. It's known to us because in our dream, this is exactly what happens. In dream, isn't it that the one dream mind appears as many people, right? We have a dream that we're going on vacation somewhere and relaxing in the beach. And isn't it in the dream that same mind appears as conscious beings and inert beings? At the person sitting and sipping a margarita and also the beach. Same thing, right? And isn't it that in that one dream mind, you can experience various things in life. You can experience joy and sorrow. And that one dream mind, although it's one, it becomes so many parts. So this is not something that we don't experience. We experience Maya in our own lives every night when we dream, if we dream. So what happens in the microcosm is happening in the macrocosm. What's happening in the macrocosm is happening in the microcosm. So therefore, this is how it came to be. Now, more about Maya. It says, now, can you tell me, first of all, you said that ekam eva adviti, one alone without a second. If Brahman is one alone without a second, then you have Maya. That means there's duality. So again, an opponent comes, okay? You have Brahman that's one alone without a second, then you have Maya. So now you have two. So the Advaitin says, no. It is like 1 plus 0. 1 plus 0, because Brahman is 1 and Maya is dependent on Brahman. Maya is all the 0, 0, 0, zeros. In a check, if you and I write 0, 0, 0, 0, good luck. Nothing will happen there. The minute we put a 1, everything has its importance is there. Its existence, rather, is also there, right? The money is actually there. In the same way, all these names and forms cannot exist without Brahman. So it says here, in this verse now, this Maya, sannapya bhayatmika no. Means, is this Maya Sat, existence, or is it non-existence? So Maya is not exactly Brahman because Maya is not always there. When we say existence, it's something that does not change. It's something that's there in all periods of time. It's beyond time, in fact. But Maya comes to an end, and knowledge comes to an end. So is it asat? Is it non-existence? No, because non-existence does not appear at any time. This invisible tiger is not appearing to you, but Maya appears. So therefore, it's not non-existence per se. It's what we call mithya. Not sat, not asat. Now, is it the same as Brahman or different from Brahman? Hinapya binnapya bhayatmika. Is it the same or different? The relationship between Maya and Brahman is like the mirror and the reflection, rather the person and the reflection. As Gurudev calls it, it's a relationless relationship. How? Because your reflection is Maya and you are Brahman. Now your reflection cannot exist without you, correct? Only when you're there, there's a reflection. When you're not there, there's no reflection. So in that way, Maya depends on Brahman. It depends on Brahman. But yet, it is independent of Brahman. How? Because my reflection is there and I am here. Now, let us say the mirror became dirty. The mirror became dirty and there's black spots all over my reflection, right? Sometimes we wonder, is there black spots on me, right? So, but it's actually happening in the mirror, right? So what is happening in the mirror is affecting the reflection, but is not affecting me. So in that way, Maya is also independent of Brahman, because what happens to Maya is not affecting Brahman. Does Maya have parts? Sanga piananga hubhayatmika, no. Can we say Maya has parts? Whenever something has parts, it's divisive, right? And we can see it, it's manifest. But we say Maya is unmanifest. It's beyond the mind and senses and thought. So how can it have parts? But at the same time, we say that Maya is of the nature of sattva, rajas, tamas. So how can we say it doesn't have parts? So therefore, mahadbhuta nirvachaniya rupa. This Maya is inexplicable. Why I'm saying all this? No need to try to understand Maya. It's inexplicable, right? That's what our scriptures say. It's inexplicable. No matter how much we try to understand it or explain it, we won't be able to do it because Maya itself is Maya. So the purpose of Shastra is to go to the source, which is Brahman. What was the point of this whole Maya explanation? To say that creation is not a modification of something into something else. It is an appearance of the names and forms. It is from the rope, the snake appears. Okay, so now we established what? That from existence, this world manifests, comes about. So how does it do it? Okay, so now we are going to go to mantra number 3. How does it do it? Tad aikshata bahusyam prajayeti tat tejo asrijata. I'll repeat that. Tad aikshata bahusyam prajayeti tat tejo asrijata. Tat teja aikshata. Tatteja aikshata bahusyam prajayeti bahusyam prajayeti tadapo asrijata tasmadyatra kvacha shochati swedate va tasmadyatra kvacha shochati swedate va purushasteja eva tadhyapo jayante Purushastejasa eva tadhyapo jayante. Okay, what does this mantra mean? So first let's look at each word and then we'll go into the detail. Again, this one also has oppositions coming here, okay? Tat means that. That here means sat, existence, and maya, okay? Aikshata means that visualized. What did it visualize? Bahusyam prajayeya means may I become many. That visualized. So what did it become? And again, remember I'm using become, but it's an appearance. So keep that in your mind. It's an appearance. Tat tejo asrijata. It became fire. It created fire. Okay, and that fire, that teja aikshata, that fire again visualized. Bahusyam prajayeti, may I become many. And what happened? Tad apo asrijata, and water was created. Therefore, tasma, therefore, yatra, wherever, kvacha shochati, wherever there is grief or someone grieves, Swedateva, or somebody sweats, Purushas Tejasa Eva. It is actually from fire that apaha jayante, that water comes. Okay, so I'll read the translation so it's clear. That existence willed, may I become many, may I grow forth. It created fire. That fire willed, may I become many, may I grow forth. It created water. Therefore, whenever a man grieves or perspires, then it is from fire that water is produced. This is our Upanishads making it very easy for us to understand how this manifestation happened. So here now, tat. Tat again here means sat but with maya, okay? Because sat on its own cannot do anything. So here, sat with maya. Aikshata. Aikshata here means that it is chit, because an inert thing cannot visualize. Why it's using this word visualize here, aikshata, is it saying this sat is chit. This existence is consciousness. And it says darshanam kritava, so kritavat, sorry, darshanam kritava. It visualized. Therefore, na pradhanam sankhya parikalpitam jagat karanam. By this whole word, this phrase, tad aikshata, means it is negating Sankhya. Sankhya philosophy believes that the world has come from matter. So this actually mantra 3, and if you see mantra 4, both of them are, the topic is that this whole creation originated from consciousness and not matter. This is the thought flow, just so we're clear about it. So from that sat, it came and it visualized. Now here, it says, are you saying, okay, so now here there is a Purva Paksha. He says that, how is it that he, tat katham aikshata, how did that sat and chit visualize? Bahu prabhutam syam bhaveya. So this may I become many, that was the visualization. So as I explained, that's the power of Maya, the one appearing as many. So that's to answer how the visualization took place. May I become. Then here it says, this is the objection, asat eva tarhi sarva yad grihyate rajjuriva sarpadya karina. So the objector says, look, I think this is only non-existence, because you're saying that from the rope, the snake appears. From the rope, the snake appears. From the rope, a garland appears. From the rope, a crack on the earth appears. And all that's appearing, that's non-existent. So therefore, non-existence alone is there. So he says, no. Sataha eva dvaita bhedena anyatha grihyamanatvat. Asatvam kasyachit kwachit iti rumaha. So he says, no, it's not that, because whatever you say, it is appearing from the rope. What appears may be, may not really be there because it's dependently existing, but it's appearing from the rope. Therefore, it is only Sat. And in fact, he says everything here in this creation is existence. Everything is existence alone, but because of our Dvaita Buddhi, because of our notion of duality, we see it different. We see things that this is different from existence. This is different from existence. But actually, it is that existence alone appearing as so many things. He gives an example here. He says, Rajju Viveka Darshinam tu Sarpavidhana Buddhi Nivartate Yatha cha Mrid Viveka Darshinam Ghatadi Shabda Buddhi Tadvat Sad Viveka Darshinam Anya Vikara Shabda Buddhi Nivartate. So he says here, look, for the rope, the people who know about the rope, when they see the snake is appearing, when they see the crack of earth is appearing, when they see the garland is appearing, they know they're different. It's a different word. They get it. It's a different word. And they get it that it's a different idea. It's a different shabda, it's a different word, and it's a different idea. But they understand that it's just rope. In the same way, he says, Brid Viveka Darshina. The one who knows clay may see pot and pitcher and cup, and they know it's a different shabda, it's a different word. Pot is a different word, pitcher is a different word, cup is a different word. They know it's a different word, and they know it's a different idea, but they know it's the same exact substance. In the same way, Sadviveka Darshina, the one who is able to understand that its existence alone, what happens is Anya Vikara, any other effect, any other modification, Shabda Buddhi, it can be as many words as there are, as many ideas as there are, but Nivartete, these are eliminated. These are eliminated because they are just appearances. That Sat is the whole thing. That Sat is just one thing. A question comes now, like, how is this possible? Then how are you saying that from Sat, right? From Sat, then fire came. So Sat, Chit, they visualized, and Sat, when Sat and Chit visualized, what happens was fire came. How do you say that? Because when we look at different Upanishads, there's a different sequence of creation. And I mentioned this last week also, like in Taittiriya Upanishad, or what we saw in Panchadashi chapter 2, from Atma comes space, then comes air, fire, water, earth. So it's a different sequence there. Why here are you starting from fire? So now here, when he starts from fire, we have to take for granted that there's already space, time, and air. Why? Because just because there's a sequence, already there's a sequence that from Sat came fire, from fire came water, there's a sequence that implies time. And for fire to be there has to be space, because the fire can't just exist wherever, it has to have space. And for the fire to be there also has to be air, because air allows for movement. Sound can only really travel when there is air, right? So there has to be some kind of movement, some space, some air for the fire to be there. And also, it says that the purpose of this is not to expound on how creation happened. Because remember, all of our Upanishads, they say so many different ways. And why they say in so many different ways is because it depends on the student. How can the student grasp it? Sometimes we have what is called Krama Srishti. Krama Srishti, which means that it is given in order. Creation is given in order. But sometimes we have that creation which is not in order. It is given like how dream appears as many. So like in Mandukya, it's given like that. Like Srishti is not in a certain order. It's like a dream. Everything just appears as one. So the idea is we're not going to all these theories of creation. All that we're trying to do is to show that out of one, many has come. And this is a way to hold our minds to understand how the many has come. It's just a way to hold our minds. But the goal, remember, is to go back to Sat, or existence. So here he says, so don't think too much about that, why it comes from Teja, right? Now it says here, what is this fire? So here the definition is given. Teja, this fire is prasiddham loke dagdra. It burns. Fire, something that burns. Patra, it's something that it cooks. Prakashakam, it's something that's shining. in rohitam, in that fire is something that's red. So when we talk about teja, we're talking about fire. And in Chandogya Upanishad, the short form of this creation is called tejo banna. Tejo banna means like fire, water, and earth. So teja is fire. And so this fire now envisioned or visualized. But remember, not fire alone, Sat, Maya, and fire. And it visualized that may I become many. May I become many. Bahusyam praja yeti. And that fire, from that fire, water came. So now the beauty about our rishis is here. We might think that, they are giving us all of these theories of creation and everything like that to present that everything comes from Sat. But they're not only doing that, they're making it so logical for us. They're making it so logical for us. They're saying, look, from fire, water came. How is that logical? So he says here, Quacha shochati, whenever one is grieving, grieving means shocha. Shochati, we're burning inside. Don't people have that expression, I'm burning inside. I'm in so much pain right now. And that's heat. So when somebody is feeling that heat, what happens is tears come out, right? So from that fire, from that heat of burning inside, the tears come out. From sweat is also when we're burning inside. So people are working out in the gym, lifting weights, running, walking. And when we do that, there's a lot of heat produced in the body. And because of that heat produced in the body, then what happens is sweat, water. So they make it very logical also for us to understand that when a person is grieving and burning, tears come, water comes. When a person is working out, they're doing so many things physically, then sweat comes out. So therefore, from Sat comes fire, from fire comes water. This is now the progression. Okay. Now, what comes after? Okay, so now we will look at mantra 4. Right? Now, mantra 4 says here, Taha apa aikshanta. Taha apa aikshanta. Okay. Pavyasyam prajaye mahiti. Pavyasyam prajaye mahiti. Taha annam asrajanta. Taha annam asrajanta. Tasmadyatra kvacha varshati. Tasmadyatra kvacha varshati. Tadeva bhuyishtam annam bhavati. Tadeva bhuyishtam annam bhavati. Adhya eva tad adhyanandadyam jayate. Adhya eva tad adhyanadyam jayate. Tad adhyanadyam jayate. Taha apa aikshanta. So water in Sanskrit is always plural. So those of you who know Sanskrit, then you kind of wonder why it's aikshanta. How did, is it water's visualized? It's because water is always plural in Sanskrit. So fire came water, water visualized. Again, this is Sat, this is Maya. From Maya, fire, fire, water. What did that water visualize? Bhagwasyam prajaye mahi iti. That may I become many. May I appear as many. So therefore, what happened? Taha annam asrajanta. That water gave birth to earth. And what's the logic there? Tasmad yatra. Therefore, wherever, kvacha varshati, wherever it rains, tadeva, there itself, bhuyishtam mannam bhavati. Lots of food grows. Crops and everything grow. Adhya eva, from water alone, Tad, that, anadyam, that food, adhijayate, that food is born. So I'll read the translation so it becomes clear. That water willed, may I become many, may I grow forth. It created food. Therefore, wherever it rains, abundant food grows there. It is from water that food for eating is produced. So very, very beautiful logic. Now, here it gives the meaning of annam, of food, right? Annam means something that's guru heavy, that's sthira, that's stable. Dharanam, that which supports, and Krishnam, that which is dark. This is called annam. Pay attention to the colors because later on it's going to talk about the colors of fire, water, and earth. Fire being red, water being white, and earth being black. Now here again, there's an objection. Okay, so this is a lot of objections, like we're pulling our minds over here. He says now, the Purva Paksha, the objector, how is it that fire visualizes? Earlier you said fire visualizes. Fire visualized and then water visualizes and earth. How is it that you're seeing all of this? So that Vedanta says, upachara means it's in a secondary sense. What we're saying is actually it's sat, it's chit with maya that's visualizing, and from that fire comes. And that sat, chit with maya, fire, from that water comes. And then that sat, chit, maya, fire, water, from that food comes. So the basis is always sat and chit. We say that fire is visualizing in a secondary sense, but we have to understand that the ground of it is sat and chit, meaning existence and consciousness. So then this objector says, no, wait. What if existence is also visualizing in a secondary sense? How are you sure that this existence is actually consciousness? Maybe it could be something inert. How are you sure it's consciousness? Because when we say, like, from clay, matter has come, right? And clay is, from clay pot has come. Clay is inert. So maybe this existence is also inert. Why are you saying that this existence is consciousness? Because we see also in our day-to-day life that we attribute verbs to inert objects. So for example, we say, the wall is falling. This floor is breaking, right? The sun is shining. So we also attribute verbs to inert things. So even if we say sat, visualize, it could just be inert. Why are you bringing consciousness in here? Then the Advaitin says, no. The idea here is, it says very, very clearly, tat satyam sa atma iti. When we go in Chandogya Upanishad, a little further, Udalaka Rishi tells Shwetaketu, that satyam, that existence is your atma, yourself. That which exists in the whole world, that substratum of the whole world, that satyam, sa atma, is this very consciousness. He gives that upadesha, that teaching, and therefore that existence is consciousness. So then he says, no. What if he's using atma in a secondary sense, right? Sa atma. What if he's using it in a secondary sense? That, we say that my atma or my life is my phone. My life is my house. My life is my car. The core of my being is this company that I made. So it could also be something that's inert. How are you sure that it's sentient, this atma that he's pointing out? So the idea is, are you sentient or not? Right? Are you sentient or not? You are. And further, he says that Tat Satyam Sa Atma, the one who realizes this, attains moksha. So it also says in Chandogya Upanishad, Tasya Tavadeva Chiram iti mokshopadesha. That one who realizes the substratum is the very self attains moksha. Have I ever been free? Have I ever felt free abiding in Prakriti? In the sense that, have I ever felt liberated abiding in matter? When I abide in matter, when I identify with my body, I feel miserable, right? When we identify with our minds, we feel miserable. When we identify with our ego, we feel miserable because it's up and down, up and down. It's unpredictable, unstable, unsteady. So that Atma, if you say Atma is something that's inert, by abiding in that which is inert, I don't feel free. I don't experience moksha. But when I abide, or I identify, or I realize that I am self, I know I am free. So therefore, it has to be sentient, it has to be Atma. Then he says, no, 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 no. Though all of this is in a secondary sense, all of this doesn't matter. And then the Advaitin says, please remember how we started. We started with, do you know that by which the unknown becomes known? Do you know that by which everything unknown becomes known? We started from there. And if you look at this whole thing, everything makes sense. When we know existence, we know everything. Because when we know the root cause or the source, we know all of the effects. And when we know that, right, that the substratum of the world, when we know the substratum of the world is nothing but me, we are one, we feel, or we are free. So therefore, all of this is so much in line. It makes sense. Even if you say it's a secondary thing, what you're saying doesn't make sense. So then here, he says, because of all this now, because of this whole thing, the source of all creation is Sat Chit. It is existence, it is consciousness. It cannot be matter. It cannot be in a secondary sense. And further, that the source of all of this, how creation comes about is not by becoming any, but by appearing as many because of the power of Maya. Now, I know there's a lot today, but I'm going to conclude with one more example to bring everything home. If you think the story of the 10th man, think of the story of the 10th man. Now, all of you, I'm sure, know the story of the 10th man, correct? Yeah. So the idea is the Guru had sent 10 of his disciples, and he sent them to a fair, and he said, keep counting. Make sure you always do your head count. So before they crossed the river, they counted, they're 10. And after they crossed the river, they counted, and they're 9. And they counted their 9. Why? Because the one who was counting forgot to count himself, right? So he counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He forgot to count himself, and therefore he was grieving. He was in so much distress. If he said 10, he would be free. Now what happened was somebody came and said, what's the matter? Why are you grieving? And he said, we lost someone. We don't know who. Now we're only 9. And that person said, count. And then he counted again. And then that person said, you are grieving because you forgot to count yourself. You are the 10th man. Correct? We know the story. Now, with the 10th man, what happened? Did the 10th man undergo any physical change? Did the 10th man, did his body become bigger? right? Did his name change? He's still the 10th man. Whatever his name was his name. His body remained the same, his whole appearance remained the same, everything remained the same. All that happened there in the story was his understanding became different. That's all. That's all. That much is Vedanta. That much is Vedanta. Nothing will change on the outside. Don't expect that we will look brighter and fairer. That happens because of yogic asanas and pranayama. Yeah, that can happen. I don't expect that, we will have superpowers. Nothing like that will happen. And don't expect that circumstances will always be conducive to us. No, karma will come as it has to come. But what we can expect is that we have a new vision and a new understanding of life. That instead of seeing this world as such a heavy thing, as a burdensome thing, we simply see it as an appearance of names and forms. And where is that appearance? In us. So if something goes okay, okay. If something doesn't go okay, okay. It is just an appearance after all. It's just like a dream after all. So why fuss? This whole world is not the purpose, not the vision of life. The vision is to see that reality amidst plurality, to see the oneness amidst the manyness of names and forms, and to stay rooted in the oneness. Because that, being rooted in that oneness, one can never then be shaken. That is the idea. That's why all this discussion is there. That's the idea. Therefore, Sat eva somya idam agra asid. This whole world was existence alone. Existence, consciousness. Ekam eva advitiyam. One alone without a second. Because even Maya is an appearance in Sat. Can't count Maya. Okay, we will stop here. I know this was a little bit heavy, so if you need to revise, please do that. Now it will get simpler, I think. So I'll just explain how this manifestation takes place, and slowly the Upanishad goes. Then after, in the 8th chapter, that's when Tattvamasi comes. Some of you might be wondering, where is Tattvamasi? Where is Tattvamasi? Now everything is just being said. In the 8th chapter, Tattvamasi will start to come. Okay, so please be patient. Okay, let's say the closing prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om